All right. Looks like we are live. So appreciate everybody out there joining us. We had a couple technical difficulties, so starting a few minutes late, but that's all right. Better late than never. We've got a great panel today to go over the news. So we got Eric. He is a very big Amazon seller, doing a lot of wholesale, selling other people's products and also creating some of their own products. And they also run marketplacepros.com, which is their 3PL. And then we have Danon. He's over there at TraceFuse, helping you knock out any bad reviews and such you might have. And then, of course, Leslie from Riverbend Consulting, helping you when your nightmare comes true and your account or products get taken down, or to prevent that from happening. Ideally,
well
right,
said.
Leslie? Yes. So,
air fuel.
so yeah, appreciate everybody joining me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. At least half of us here are trustworthy.
Yes. Won't tell you which half, but we'll leave you guessing. But yeah, if anybody out there listening, if you got questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment. They'll show up here on the side for me and we can maybe bring them into the show as well. But otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into the first piece of news here. And let me scroll up to the headline. So, promises of passive income on Amazon lead to death threats, FTC says. So, the FTC has filed a lawsuit against Ascend Ecom, an automation company that promised customers passive income by launching and managing Amazon storefronts. The company is accused of making false claims about earnings, using deceptive marketing practices, and even threatening clients who posted negative reviews. One customer, Jamal Sanford, faced terrifying threats, including death threats, after leaving a negative review. And this case is part of the FTC's broader crackdown on e-commerce scams. And if I scroll down here just a little bit, it was interesting that this guy posted a negative review of this Amazon automation company, and they started contacting him, claiming to be a Russian shadow team, and were showing him his home address, social security number, where his daughter goes to college, and basically threatening his life if he didn't take down this bad review. So very scary stuff. So what are you guys' thoughts on the new, not only this news, but these Amazon automation platforms in general? Why don't we throw it over to you, Leslie? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, because we deal with this all day long, y'all. And first, I have to tell you, because people who read this story and they're shocked by the death threat part and the Russian shadow team, this is all real. I just want to assure people who think, oh, it couldn't have been that bad. It didn't really happen like that. This is drama. This is real. And I have seen similar things like this from these kind of companies, but also other kinds of sellers on Amazon for years. I have worked with many clients who have had death threats, have had threats to their relatives, their elderly parents, and their children. And this whole Russian shadow team, that is real too. There are groups in Russia and Eastern Europe that you can hire to be your bad guy hackers, because they're never going to face any legal ramifications for it. They're never going to get arrested for these things. So if someone wants to, demand money from you, I'll fix the listing that I hijacked if you pay me 1,000 Bitcoin. They don't do that themselves. They use these Russian hackers, and the hackers do it for them. And then sometimes what's really cool is the Russian hackers will even say, if you'll give me another 1,000, I'll tell you who hired me to you. So I just want anyone who thinks this is drama on the part of the seller. This is not, I can't swear to this case, but these things happen all the time. So these passive income guys are so dangerous to sellers, not because they're going to, put a horse head in your bed if you complain about them, but because they set up these storefronts that are doomed to fail, and they're going to get suspended because Amazon's really great at catching on to the way that they set these businesses up. and Amazon isn't playing anymore. So they hold your funds forever and ever. And
Mhm.
what's super dangerous is if you give these guys your credit card. So if you're in one of these, even if you trust the guys doing it, y'all make sure that if you've given them your credit card, you cancel that credit card,
Yeah.
because they'll use that credit card to buy inventory for other stores or to make purchases from other stores that they're doing the drop shipping model, right? And they'll do it for their other clients' stores. And when Amazon sees that, Amazon sees it as money laundering, y'all. So then they shut it down all for fraud and money laundering, and you never see any of that money inventory or anything ever again.
Mm.
And in the meantime, they've got your credit card. And so you have the charges on your credit card, you have the money you gave them and the money you spent for inventory. That's how people end up out hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of just, 10 or 20 that you would think it would be for that inventory outlay. Okay, I'll shut up. Sorry, y'all. I get
Dang.
really emotional about this one because people get so scammed it hurts my heart.
Well, that's why Todd asked you, right? I mean, you are the front lines on this sort of stuff.
Well, and where it really hurts is there are private label sellers who need more cash flow and they don't want to take on a lot more debt, or they're trying to figure out how to earn their way into that cash flow. And a lot of private label sellers, they don't have the background of doing the hustle with the wholesale, or
Yeah.
God forbid, the RA or whatever that you would use to generate cash. And so they are looking for something, and someone comes to them and makes this great pitch, and it sounds so awesome. It's passive income. They run it for you. Cool. But they'll have it be the same storefront as their private label. And so
Yeah.
then when they get caught on all of the strategies that people use for the passive income that Amazon doesn't allow and eventually shuts down, then it takes down their private label brand too. And I've had more than a handful of clients, 10, 12 clients who private label this has happened to. Think about how much they invested in their private label products. That brand is done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's the
It's
good
like-
news. I think with this, I'll just be clear. If anybody's watching that wants to do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
So first, do that first. But at the end of the day, Amazon doesn't want this either. They don't seem to be doing a whole lot to prevent it, but they don't want this. And so when Amazon doesn't want something, things will change eventually. It seems to be going pretty slow. And on the other side, it's interesting to see the government get involved. They seem to always be like 3 or 4 years late on these things and uninformed.
sure.
But I did have an interesting conversation last week with the chief of staff with the U.S. senator about some Amazon issues that I just saw that are happening. And I said, the Amazon business is fine. It's tough, just like any business. But sellers are deathly afraid of being suspended and having funds frozen. And this is one of those things that happens, of course. And one of the things that's interesting that he told me was, this is what, Eric, if you want a meeting, the senator can set up a meeting with Amazon if you want that to happen. He just said
that.
Amazon is afraid of the U.S. Senate for all the things that the U.S. Senate can do. And part of that is they're afraid because the Senate doesn't always necessarily know what's right. They take actions that wouldn't be great for Amazon or even sellers or customers, but they would take action if they felt like Amazon was out defrauding people. And things like this make Amazon look bad. And so I'm anxious to see the FTC come down very swiftly and just see if we can end some of these things from happening.
I'd love that too.
Yeah, it would be nice, and they're not going to be able to stop this kind of thing completely, no matter if it's legal or illegal.
Yeah.
There's drugs are rampant in this country, and those have been illegal forever. But really, it's about, I think, getting the word out and letting people know to watch out for this kind of thing. I mean, myself personally, just friends on Facebook, I've talked to people out of doing this kind of thing.
Me too.
They see that I'm an Amazon expert,
Same.
and so they message me about it because they're looking at buying one of these automation services. And I was like, no, just don't do it. Even if they have the right motivations, because there are companies out there that are not, Russian hacks and stuff and you're going to go out and kill your daughter or something. But it's just, they don't have the motivation to make it succeed. And they're setting you up to fail. Like Eric said, Amazon is hard. It's a lot of work. And these companies for $30,000, they're not going to put in all the work that's necessary to make it successful.
Yep. It's like the new age version of a Ponzi scheme. Instead of e-com, it's e-pon. You're welcome for that.
Well, and another thing is people, some of these, they say we're not drop shipping, we're not drop shipping. And
Mm.
a lot of folks out there have come to believe, well, as long as it's not drop shipping,
Mm.
it's okay. And so now what we're seeing happen is there's a lot of suspensions for what Amazon's calling unsuitable goods. And
Mhm.
that is where they essentially believe it's stolen goods, but they can't prove it, or they think it has really bad provenance, but they can't prove it. So they can't call it stolen or counterfeit. So they say unsuitable.
Mm.
So a lot of these automation companies are on the West Coast. And so they'll get inventory from Port of LA or from some of these thievery rings, the guys who break into the CVS and steal the things, right? They get this inventory and they split it up among their sellers. So they'll have 5 or 6 of these, automatic passive stores, and they split the inventory among all these stores. And over time, even if one account doesn't get caught for the bad inventory, which a lot of it's lousy,
They just
eventually
move it to another.
they all get linked together because they're shipping. Amazon's basing it on the shipping address, and it's all being shipped out of the same warehouse. The goods are all being shipped from the same warehouse. So you might even think, oh, they told me they're using different IP addresses and it's different credit cards, and so there's no way they're going to catch me. Well, what they're catching them from is the shipping address going to FBA, and they don't have a good way to fake that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, drop shipping isn't in and of itself a violation of Amazon's terms, as long as whoever's shipping the drop shipped goods is having the correct address and everything on there. And it's branded under your brand for your account and everything properly. But a lot of these places don't do that, but that's kind of a whole separate thing. There's legitimate places that do that. But these automation companies, like you said, are probably potentially selling stolen goods using drop shipping that is not legitimate and is in violation of terms, and risking a lot for the amount of money that you have to put down up front. The risk is just super high. I listened to a guy, his podcast, Jason Hartman. He talks about real estate, investing in real estate, and one of his commandments of investing is thou shall maintain control. And if you don't have control of your investment, then you shouldn't make that investment. And this is kind of like that. You're giving them $30,000 and like, you go do it, and you don't really have control of what they're doing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So just don't do it. If you're thinking about it, don't do it.
Look up what
Figure
happened
it out
with just one
yourself.
dime.
Look up what?
Look up what happened with just one dime.
Just one dime. What happened with them?
They went the way of the dodo because they were essentially doing the same thing. They were taking people's profits and people's investments to pay out as profits to prior people. I don't know the exact details. Leslie, you probably know a lot better than I do what happened with them, but it was one of those.
They would help people develop private label products, essentially. So they would go source the product for you, help you develop the brand, do all the things. But yeah, there were a lot of accusations. I don't know exactly what happened, but there were a lot of accusations that it was the businesses essentially were being intermingled, like the funds were being used for other things, or but that goes exactly to what you were saying, Todd, that it's not controlling it, because why would you pay someone to go develop your own private label and be totally hands off? It was completely hands off. So even if they were the most honest people on earth, you're still lacking control of how your money is being used and the decisions they're making.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, so don't do it. Build your own brand, build your own account, figure it out. Just like if you were going to open up any, physical business or anything like that, it takes work.
Yep.
Anybody who's trying to sell you passive income on Amazon is lying to you and trying to steal your money, essentially.
That's true.
The full
100%.
moral of the story.
Yep. As beautiful as that picture gets painted, it's a fake.
Yes, 100%. All right. Next article here. Temu woos Amazon sellers amid U.S. challenges. So Temu is actively courting Amazon sellers by offering a flat fee per item sold and eliminating fees for ads or logistics if sellers handle their own shipping. This could attract sellers frustrated by Amazon's high fulfillment costs. Temu's strategy aims to expand its local seller base and inventory, particularly by allowing fulfillment from U.S. warehouses. However, concerns about Temu's future in the U.S., copycat goods, and regulatory headwinds, like the closing of tax loopholes, raise doubts about whether this will be enough to offset the broader challenge. And I highlighted a couple lines down here. So August compared to January, Temu's is down about 25% in shoppers. And then closing the de minimis loophole, which was that $800 loophole. If the cost of the goods was under that, they didn't get inspected and have to pay tariffs and all that stuff, is supposed to increase their prices by about 20% as well. So what do you guys think? Are any of you guys thinking about trying selling on Temu at all? Jump over to you, Eric, since you're a big wholesale seller.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, if Temu offered zero fulfillment fees or zero seller fees, they still have to have customers, and they have some. And everything that we've seen, it's a lot of private label type goods, cheap goods, and we sell 2/3 of our business are branded products like Rubbermaid and Vice Grip and 3M, and so there's not a space for that yet. And everything that I've seen, it's like ordering from Wish. We did sell quite a bit on Wish when Wish was pumping in money into acquiring customers. We were doing somewhere around 500,000 a month on Wish, which represented single digit percentage of our total business, but 500,000 that's real money. But they were out there paying $200 or $300 to acquire a customer. I don't know what Temu is doing for customer acquisition. It is working. I mean, people are certainly buying on the platform, but when they shut that spigot off, will people buy? And then will they buy the products that we sell? We sell mainly automotive products, among other private label things too. But there's really not a spot for us on Temu right now. So, but could they make it? I don't know. Walmart hasn't really made it yet either, and Walmart has a big advantage. And I have been getting a lot of calls. I'm one of these Amazon experts too, so I get calls from private equity people and family offices that have investments in Amazon, and they want to know how much is Temu going to take from Amazon, and so they're asking me questions. So it's out there, and a lot of people in the investment world are certainly wondering about this. And I give the facts as I know them.
Yeah, hopefully just enough for Amazon to reduce their fees.
That'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't make it, does Amazon keep raising fees? I mean, they've never not raised fees essentially.
I know, and that's the shtick, right? Like we've got Walmart, we've got Temu, we've got Shein, whatever you want to call it, and they're all trying to make a splash. They're all trying to gather market share from Amazon because Amazon's got it all, right?
And don't forget about the OG. eBay's out there too.
Yeah, eBay's out there, but I don't count that because I don't see them doing anything to go out and aggressively acquire customers like these other two are, right?
I think they're happy where they're at with they've kind of fell into the niche market of like collectibles and things like that, used parts and such. And I think they're happy to kind of sit there right now.
Yeah. So we do have 3 potential players that could go up against Amazon. All of them 15 years behind on their technology and stuff like that, technically, especially in the American market. But all I want, Amazon's still the big monkey, right? All I want is for it to go back to the days for us sellers where we could easily, legitimately sell on Amazon. I see that. I've seen that. and Eric, you've been selling nearly as long as I have. Todd, you as well. Actually, all three of us here are decade plus sellers on Amazon, right?
Hey man, don't
And
leave me out.
oh, sorry, I didn't realize that you'd also been selling, Leslie. I thought it was
Yeah.
all Riverbend.
Since 2010.
Oh shoot!
Nice.
Sorry.
So all of us are like OGs right here.
Oh yeah, as long as we've known each other, I didn't even know that you also sold.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
shoot, I'm sorry.
we've all seen all the things, which I think is so cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So here we have on this 45, 50 years
Mhm.
of seller experience, right? And so we have all seen an erosion of our profits, an erosion of the good customer support from Amazon. We have all seen increased fees unnecessarily, in my opinion. We've all seen rising prices in ads. We've all seen complications, just endless complications added to what it takes to be a seller. And if it took 15 different companies like Shine and Temu and Walmart and stuff like that to bloody Amazon's nose enough for them to actually understand the value of us sellers to them, I'd be all right with it. But whether or not they truly are going to steal market share, I don't think any of them has what it takes yet.
What I'm waiting for, eBay has, I would just say, tried and failed.
Mhm.
Wish has tried and failed. Jet got shut down. Walmart is trying. Certainly haven't failed yet. But the big one for me is Facebook and Apple. Apple's got all the credit card information and trust, and they haven't opened up anything. Facebook has something called Marketplace, and I'm sure is doing billions of dollars in GMV, but it's not.
But it's so
They're
horrible.
on the eBay side. They're in the peer-to-peer, which
really
is really interesting. But if Facebook ever wanted to get into this game seriously, there might be a play there.
I think
Yeah.
one of the big blockers here, though, is, and this goes back to what Eric was saying earlier. First of all, they're making it really attractive right now, but I think most sellers understand at some point these Temu, come on, we're going to eliminate all fees. At some point, it goes away, and then does it make sense for you when you don't even know what they're going to be exactly? But secondly, let's face it, it's a marketplace of cheap junk. It's like the dollar store online.
Yeah,
And
perfect example.
most of the US sellers that I know are struggling on Amazon because they're having to compete with the dollar store people, a lot of them sellers from China who are selling, cheaper, not as good quality goods, up against their better quality products. And that's really hard. So why on earth would an Amazon seller be able to go over to Temu and price their products competitively? I can't see a ton of sellers with a model that actually works with that. I'm sure there are some. And hey, go conquer and not pay those fees. Woo, good for you if your model works. But most of the sellers I know, their model isn't going to work. And then Dana, into what you were saying about Amazon, internally, they do not value sellers.
Right.
Like they say they do. And I know y'all noticed when they changed it to seller partner support instead of seller support, and every single one of us did the eye roll and the teenage girl throwing yourself on the floor eye roll when we but they don't. I mean, they don't even value large brands. Their internal, they really believe everyone is replaceable, but there's an end to that. There's an end to that unless your goal is to replace all the Americans with Chinese goods. That's the only way it's true.
Yeah.
Well, Leslie, the point that I talk to our team about all the time is Jeff Bezos famously said, "Your margin is my opportunity." And so that's where we're seeing the U.S. sellers getting squeezed in favor of Chinese sellers, and they will end up getting squeezed as well. And then the question is, does it break? And then is it just the Nikes and the Apples that are selling direct to Amazon? But to your point, Leslie, Amazon doesn't care about them either. It's really interesting. The thing that Temu is missing in my mind for the U.S. seller, the advantage we have is quality goods and speed of delivery. And when I look at Temu, I don't know what kind of quality it is. I trust a little bit just based on the picture, but I have no idea how fast it's coming. Just placed my first order last week, and I've been inundated with emails my next offer, this for free, this for $1, different things. It's super annoying. And I still haven't got my first order yet. And it's been, 10 days, I think. So
I ordered some stuff just to see, like last year, and it took about 2 weeks, I think, or 2.5 weeks to get it all, and everything was cheap. I mean, like really, really cheap. It was very dollar store quality.
Yeah, and I speaking of dollar stores, this morning I seen some news that the dollar stores, I believe it was it Dollar General or one of them, they're going to be closing something like 1,000 stores this year as their sales are struggling. Because Dollar General bought Family Dollar, and that's not working out very well. And Walmart's beating them on price, and I'm sure Temu is playing a role in that as well. But that is definitely something that I think will harm Temu, just like it's harmed Walmart, in that they have the cheap junk kind of branding, right? You assume that when you go to those places, where Amazon built themselves as high quality stuff at good prices, and they kind of have that reputation from the past that they've built on. Whether that's not necessarily true anymore. There's a lot of cheap junk on there. There always was, but they had that reputation, and Temu is going to be battling that just like Walmart is battling it. And I think eBay to a degree as well, not necessarily cheap junk, although it did get that reputation after a while. But eBay's got the reputation of auctions and used stuff, things like that, rather than a marketplace to buy your everyday goods.
Yeah, if I'm looking for parts for my vehicle, I'll go to eBay, but I will not buy from a seller of new parts, right? Because they're cheap Chinese junk.
Interesting,
right? So I will look for used parts over new parts, unless it's just like, man, I don't even know. Even if it was like a cheap piece of plastic, like I've got this wind cover for my A-pillar that actually it's my second Rover, and it's the second A-pillar that flew off in on riding down the freeway. So on the same side, mind you.
Okay. That's not good.
No, it's a thing. It's a Rover thing, apparently. So I need that pillar. Even that, I don't even know if I would buy that new on eBay from one of those places that do these OEM parts, right?
Yep.
I'd still buy it used. And so eBay for me, it is used goods and auctions for those used goods.
Yep.
Or buy it now. I'm okay with buy it now as well.
It's like the pawn shop.
Yeah.
Pretty much. My brother makes pretty good money buying like trading card lots on there and then reselling them individually and selling them locally in a garage sale and at different things as well. So
Eric knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah, I'm a sports card guy, so I'm all over eBay.
Yep, for sure. You can make a lot of money doing that kind of stuff. It's a lot of tedious work, I'm sure, going through all the lots and trying to find it. But if you like that kind of thing, it can be fun.
Yeah.
The new marketplace that's competing with eBay now, that you can put this on your next show, it's called Whatnot. Very big with the sneakers and sports cards. They do like 15-second auctions. I don't know if they have buy it now yet, but as they grow, I'm sure they're going to grow into, and it's probably more niche-y than, and they're not going after Amazon per se, but the bigger they get, Amazon will probably bring something in, and eBay, I'm sure, will as well. But
interestingly, app only. They don't have a website. They do, but it directs you to the app. You can't look at anything on the website.
And they've got, I don't know how much the funding they've raised, but I'm guessing it's in the 100 million range. They've raised a ton of money, have a bunch of employees, and they're getting after it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out and see how it looks.
Some shoes, baby.
Yep. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. Like Danon said earlier, competition is a good thing. And now that they've closed the loophole that was allowing them to get around the tariffs and such, it's gonna level the playing field a little bit. So if Temu can steal some market share from Amazon and put a little pressure on them, that is just a good thing for sure.
Yep.
I would prefer if it was a US company, but hey,
Same.
competition is competition, and it can force them to be better with the sellers and give sellers more opportunity as well.
I'm still hoping that Rivley gets $1 bajillion of investment, and then they can just come out swinging and actually make a difference.
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. Amazon sellers struggle with October FBA capacity limits. Amazon sellers are facing unexpected challenges with FBA storage limits in October, despite being told in July that their capacity would double. Some sellers report a 25% reduction in storage limits, causing major disruptions in preparing holiday inventory shipments. With Amazon's new FBA capacity limit system combining restock and storage limits, sellers are left scrambling to adjust, especially those reliant on holiday sales. So myself, I did see a reduction in my storage fees. Now, I already had a quite high capacity, more than I've been using. So
Glad you
I'll
said
be
storage.
fine.
Did you
But I
mean
did
storage
see a
space?
reduction. Sorry?
You said storage fees. Did you mean storage space?
Storage space. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. The storage capacity that I have, I did see a reduction. But I've got so much above what I normally sell, I'll be fine. But I'm curious if Eric or anybody else have seen any reductions in their storage capacity.
I don't. You have, Eric?
No, we actually saw the opposite. We were also at when the big thing hit a couple years ago, and everybody got blindsided by the reductions. That put us in a really tough spot. I mean, we had plenty of space, and then they hit us with sorry, not no mo, and but just in the last 2 or 3 months, particularly in hazmat, we got some extra space, and
Nice.
in oversized, we got some extra space. We'll see what happens because we're heeding Brandon Young's advice of get excess inventory out of Amazon before the third quarter.
Mhm.
And we don't see spikes. We're selling automotive, so we're pretty flat in the fourth quarter as far as sales go. So we need to really be tight and buttoned up. But with that said, we were right up against our limits for probably a year in hazmat and in oversize, and we finally got, and it, like, we're talking, I think it was 10 or 12%. This was not 50%. It was just a little bit, but that was a big deal for us, and that's going to help us sell more for sure.
Yep.
And I don't actually know if we saw a reduction in storage. I don't think so. But like Eric, so we're selling supplements, but our sales throughout the holiday period, they're flat as well. There's no, sometimes we see a little bit of a spike in December, and particularly for January or in January for that, I'm going to be healthier this year, but it's not so significant that we run out of inventory.
Mhm.
So I've not seen any reduction myself. But again, we have sold a similar amount for 10 years on this product, you know?
Yeah, Amazon is they implemented the ability for you to bid for extra storage, which is good and annoying. So hopefully people bid for the storage that they need just in case if they were tight before.
Yeah.
But I think what's frustrating that some people are seeing decreases is that in July they did say that they were going to be increasing everyone's capacity. And now it sounds like it's kind of a mixed bag with some of us being decreased, some of us being increased.
Yeah. They also give you the opportunity to pay for a dedicated, terrible customer support person. So
Yes.
thanks, Amazon. You can, you want more of what we already gave you? Okay, we're going to give you less, and then you can pay us for what you had before.
Yeah, we did that for a number of years. We cut them this year because they wanted to raise the price. It was 60,000, which I thought was fine, but our team thought was ridiculous. And then they went to 90,000 for the year, and we just said no.
It's crazy. I mean, you get a couple of perks with that, but I mean, come on, like those people, maybe you're part of the executive team, Eric. So perhaps you guys have. I know I learned that there are 5 tiers of strategic account services, and executive gets tier 4 and 5. But those people apparently know something. But about 80% of the people that I talk to that pay for SaaS, they're very unhappy with the person. And they only keep them around because they can get them quick access to lightning deals, or they can merge or decouple listings a lot faster, and that is literally the only reason that they keep them around. Leslie, I saw you pointing, so it's
Yeah.
and that literally costs them tens of thousands of dollars a year, fives to tens of thousands of dollars a year, just for that, a service that is already available to any seller and should not be needed. You should not be needing to pay for. Sorry, I went on a rant and totally changed the subject, but that's
No, you nailed it though. You
Yep.
nailed it. But
Yeah.
I've had team members who've been part of SaaS Core at Amazon and left Amazon and worked for us. And they would tell you the only thing of real value is to have access to the deals that other people don't have access to. So if you're a big seller and you rely on those deals, or you make a lot of bank at Christmas from those deals, or you sign up a lot of new subscribe and save off of those deals, go for it. But you've got to really do serious volume to make $90,000 make sense. Good Lord. And they'll tell you, oh, well, if you get suspended or an ASIN taken down, we can escalate that. They can only escalate it after 72 hours, y'all. I mean,
after you've already been.
Yes, after you've been turned down.
Exactly.
So like if you come to my team, and not selling anything, I'm just telling you facts, or if you know how to do it yourself, we can escalate something faster and get it resolved before our client is even allowed to take it to their SaaS Core rep.
Yep.
It's insane.
It's insane. But yeah, that just goes to show, now they want to charge you for space in their warehouse, which you're already paying for via fulfillment fees. Right? So like now Mr. Bezos has gone, your margin is my opportunity to your opportunity is my opportunity to charge you more.
Yeah. What's really interesting with that is, so during COVID, they built more and more and more warehouses, right? To the point where they had too many warehouses, too much capacity.
That's right. They laid off
so
like
now they're
100,000
starting
people
to close warehouses. And in the middle of that, then they introduced this cutting the storage that you have available and allowing you to bid for it. It's like, so which one is it? You don't have enough capacity, so we got to pay extra for it, or you have too much capacity that you're closing warehouses?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, go ahead and put it in these interim warehouses that we have and pay less there.
Well, and there's another
EWD.
dirty secret too, that they leased warehouse space during that time because they couldn't build fast enough. So they were building like crazy. They leased a bunch of space. Then they paid premiums to get out of the leases, or they sublet the space. So they made poor decisions. Now, admittedly, I think anyone would have made some of these poor decisions. I don't care how smart you are and how good your tools are. COVID and all the things that were changing. I get that they did. I'm sure they made what they thought were the best business decisions, but the sellers are getting hammered for it now.
Yeah, well, they get all the power. Mistakes.
Yeah, they get all the power. They make all the decisions, and then they pass that cost along to us. And frankly, okay, so controversial comment. Jeff Bezos cared a hell of a lot more about sellers than Andy Jassy ever even considered.
I second that.
Andy Jassy is all AWS all the time. He does not care one whit about his team, his employees, or sellers. And so I think that the any kind of positive towards sellers is just going to keep dropping. And I miss Jeff.
Dang. That is definitely a bold statement. And I don't disagree with you on any part of that. But I never looked at it that way. Things were better when Hefe was in place. They were getting worse, but not as fast.
Well, the thing that Bezos needed to care about sellers for is he was 100% right. He wanted selection, and to get selection, you needed sellers.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff doesn't need selection anymore. which means he doesn't necessarily need sellers anymore.
Right.
The one thing that you see Amazon going after are the new like invention type products. When somebody invents something, they want to make sure that's going on Amazon and not Instagram.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Yeah, and we see a lot of brands that are only on Amazon because they need the presence there so that they're the ones that are controlling the sales of their product.
right.
Right. But Amazon is, these are real brands, right? Not someone that I decided I'm going to white label this case, right? These are real brands that go, well, we weren't on Amazon because we didn't want to pay their exorbitant fees, but we kind of got to be there. And so for people that are doing that, I tell them, well, just FBM it. Don't pay that extra 15%, or 20%, depending on whatever it is. It's probably the last time I checked, I paid basically 30% of my sale price. It may be more now. I haven't checked it in a while.
I would recommend that you do that.
Yeah, well, I asked my wife to make sure we were still profitable, and she said we were. That was a couple of months ago.
Yes, that's always a good thing to check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the FBMing it, because then depending on the brand, then you leave yourself open to other resellers and stuff coming in and stealing the buy box from you.
But you give that with FBA too.
Yeah. Well, you will definitely. But if you're FBM, you're going to lose the buy box for sure then.
Fair point. Yeah. Fair point. Yeah. That's true. Unless you can lock your brand down. Eric, I see you
I mean, it's not necessarily true anymore, or as it was. But
yeah.
that would be my recommendation for some brands. If they're really afraid of it, I would just do everything they can to lock it down. We help people use there's a law firm out there that we help companies use, and drawing a blank at the moment, but that's been really successful for us to help some brands get rid of some unscrupulous.
Right. You've told me about them.
Yeah, sending the cease and desist letters. Are you talking about? Yeah,
and they go right. This company goes right for the jugular. It's cease and desist followed by a federal lawsuit, and it's oh shit.
Yeah. I wish I had hundreds of millions in the bank, which I don't yet.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
But if I did, I feel like I would have a lot of fun being like, okay, here's a countersuit for threatening me.
Oh, I love it.
That would be a lot of different things that I would love to do that with. But, because technically we're not doing anything wrong reselling a product on Amazon. And it's kind of a grayish area just because the law hasn't come down one way or another. But if you read the letter of the law, technically it's legal to sell any product on Amazon that you want.
I'm with you.
All right. Well, let's jump on to the last news article here. And this is kind of a dual one from Brandon Young and Aaron Cordova. So basically emphasizing the importance of using the upcoming Prime Day to liquidate your slow moving inventory, which Eric, you alluded to already. If anybody's not aware, it is Q4 now. It started a few days ago, and storage rates are now about 3 times higher than before. So what Brandon is recommending here is that you take advantage of Prime Day and Black Friday to clearance out any of your inventory, probably more Prime Day since that's coming up this next week, to liquidate any inventory that you think won't sell quickly in Q4, because that $2.40 a square foot is going to add up really quickly. We were looking at a potential client for Amazon Storage Pros, and last year in Q4, their storage fees went from $5,000 a month for Q3 to $25,000 a month in Q4. So you really got to be careful.
Yeah, a good friend of mine paid over $250,000 for December, January. And what kills me about this, y'all, is Amazon has like the best technology on earth, I'm sure, for planning for inventory, how many units they should buy,
Mm.
how long it's supposed to be in stock, how quickly it's going to move. They have all the data we don't have access to.
Mhm.
And yet they stock out of things, I've noticed. And they also have like incredible deals sometimes where you can tell they're just trying to get rid of stuff that they never should have bought, or they bought too much. And so it's fascinating to me that they now think that sellers have this magical capability, this truly magical capability that we know exactly how much to send at any
Mhm.
given time, and it's all going to move out on these magic parameters, because the whole point of the treble fees is to discourage you from sending stuff that they allegedly have no place to put. And I get that. But then they also punish you if you have not enough stock and if you have too much stock. And it's gotten really insane. I hate to just like be griping about Amazon, but this is my biggest gripe right now,
Yeah.
because I honestly don't understand how you're supposed to. You can look at your last year. A really good friend of mine sells hot item at Christmas, super hot gift item, has been for 2-3 years. He knows exactly how much he thinks he can sell. He knows his increase year over year. So he increased Q4 inventory by that much. He's got a 3PL working with him. He's using the Amazon logistics for some of it. He's doing all the things, but he's still going to get hammered with these fees. So if Amazon can't do it, but once again, do as they say, not as they do.
Yeah. Amazon is mom and dad. Yeah, they want everyone to find the Goldilocks zone, and it's not possible.
Yeah. No, not on some a marketplace as dynamic as Amazon. I mean, all it takes is, some bad actor to buy some negative reviews or something like that, and your sales decline, or Amazon AI bot decides to that they don't like your main image or some of your copy, and
Or
takes
changes
it
your
down,
title.
says that your baseball cards are pesticides or something like that.
Yep, that
And
happened to my blankets. They took my blankets. They suspended my camping blankets because it was a pesticide.
yeah, same with some of our fishing lures. They took it down,
Yeah,
pesticides or
those are
whatever.
super dangerous.
So yeah, there's so many different things. Just the fact that the economy changes, right? The economy this Q4 is not the same as it was last year, or especially not the same as it was 2-3 years ago.
Yep.
So you can't necessarily use last year's numbers to exactly
No.
predict what's going to happen this year.
That's true. Alternatively, you could have some TikToker or some YouTube or Instagram or whatever go viral, and people just buy a bunch of your inventory. You
Yep.
know, that's another thing that can happen. Which
This is the beautiful thing, that these are the discussions we have in our executive team meetings all the time, is how much do we send in? How much should we stock? When do we order? The beautiful thing, we are a 3PL, but we own our own 3PL. So that really helps us. If we make a mistake and don't have it at FBA, we can just ship it out of our own warehouse. Now, it doesn't necessarily always sell at the same rate, especially as we get closer to the major holidays. But when I talk to Amazon sellers, this is a conversation I have with them, not only because I'd love to sell them some 3PL services, but I'll tell you, you can do it yourself too. And just make sure you have that FBM listing and some boxes to sell those most important items. Then they tell me they don't have any warehouse space. I said, well, I can help you with that too.
yeah. Do you do seller fulfilled Prime?
So we have, and of course we have lots of friends in the world that do as well. This is where being in South Dakota really hurts us. We have a warehouse in Las Vegas as well, so we can do California in one day. But being in South Dakota, there's just not a lot of customers there to meet the demands of seller fulfilled Prime inexpensively. And we sell a lot of oversized products and hazardous products that we can never put in an airplane. So
like our RV covers.
Those are oversized, unfortunately. RV covers, very important. Go search Amazon for those.
Yep. Eric needs to sell them all. Everybody buy an RV cover. Buy one, get one.
Whatever we need to do.
Yes, one of life's necessities is an RV cover.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. Well, have you guys Well, shoot, now I lost what I was gonna say.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on where I was going.
Well,
What
I
do you
asked him
got?
about seller fulfilled Prime, and then yeah.
Yes. So with seller fulfilled Prime, have any of you guys done that successfully? I know Amazon just reopened it recently because they were, I believe it, in my opinion, it was because the FCC, or not the FCC,
FTC.
FTC was coming down on them, right, for FBA overcoming FBM and having cheaper FBM listings, but not putting them in the buy box. So then they reopened the seller fulfilled Prime. But then I also know that they increased the metrics that you have to meet to hit it.
Yeah, so I've never done seller fulfilled Prime. I got approved in the very early days, like version 1 of it. I've definitely considered doing it because like my manufacturer for the supplements, they're in California. They have everything in place to be able to ship one day and stuff like that, or same day, I should say. But I also know that if you don't meet the metrics, let's say you get an order on Saturday, right? And there's nobody in your warehouse on Saturday, and so you don't ship it out until Monday, and then it doesn't matter if it's there the same day, that's 3 days, right? And so you get slapped around for that. And if if an FBA order doesn't get there for 3 days, Amazon doesn't poke themselves in the eye, right? But if you do SFP, then Amazon will backhand you, as they're wont to do if they disagree with anything. And most of the sellers that I've spoken to, where I asked if they did that, they're like, it ain't worth it, not worth it.
Yeah.
So they just do FBA or FBM.
If you sell things like the people that we know that they sell cufflinks and they're licensed cufflinks, like Batman and Superman, and they're platinum and silver and things. So they're like $200 for these cufflinks. Perfect item to do.
Yeah.
We'll send them next day, FedEx, and the little envelopes inexpensively. It's a high price point. Supplements would be another one, but supplements I know is very crowded now and they're getting cheaper and cheaper. But if you had an expensive supplement, that would make some sense.
Yeah.
But expensive and light items are few and far between these days. So
yeah, exactly. I'm going to start selling gold.
Yeah, I'm like Dana, and I used to do seller fulfilled Prime until they took away all the goodies, because you used to be able to geographically band where you would send items.
Right. Yeah.
And so I would ship to Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas. And I could do it in an affordable way where I would still be competitive. It was awesome. You could also turn it on and off. So you could I would do it for certain shipping days that I could do the 2-day post office freight thing. And it was magical.
So like Monday through Thursday?
Well, no, it would actually be like Thursday to Monday, because you would take advantage of over the weekend, and there would be a delay, like they don't expect it to move on those days. It was so cool. I had it down to a science. But the problem now is that it's not geographically banded. So the only way that I've seen people successfully do seller fulfilled Prime is either they have multiple warehouses or they use a 3PL that has multiple warehouses. You have to have at least East, West, and Central, and get it, because you can't get over the Rockies in time. And then the other problem that a lot of people don't even know about, there is this bizarro part of their algorithm that you actually have to offer one day for a certain percentage
I've seen
people who view the page. It is actually based on page view metrics that you have no access to, so you can't even see what percentage of people that are viewing the page that you're offering the one day for. So it's not even, so that goes to what Danon was saying about, Amazon's rules for thee and not for me, because Amazon doesn't say I only offer this product if it's available in one day. So I will also want to warn people, premium shipping you can lose premium shipping privileges as well as seller fulfilled prime. But premium shipping privileges, we can get those reinstated like over and over again. We have one client that it's like the big joke. How long until they're back with lost premium privileges? I think we have no exaggeration gotten those back like 12 times for them. But
Nice.
seller fulfilled prime, it's like I can get you back maybe once a year. I have people that we've done once a year for 4 years. We've gotten them back, but they are a lot stricter. And in between those once a year, they'll like almost have a cooling off period and you have to go beg. So just know if you jump into the seller fulfilled prime thing, you've really got to perform. It's so much stricter. Don't think it's like if you've lost your premium privileges before and got them back.
Yeah.
So we're
It's good to
55
know.
minutes in. So I want to give my pro tip of the day. So if you made it this far, congratulations. You get a pro tip from me. Premium shipping during the holidays. We actually up our premium shipping charges because we know people are desperate and they're willing to pay anything for those. And especially as we know, we might fall out of stock with FBA, but they've been saved in a cart or something like that. So we do raise our premium shipping. And we've tested this a number of different times and of how much. I don't know what it is for us, but it's like 50 or 60% higher once as we get closer to the holiday season. So we'll start it now and keep increasing it. And then after that, then we just put it down to we have another number for after the holiday season too.
So you're stepping up as you get closer to Christmas time, basically.
Yeah.
And then you'll step it down, or you'll just drop it.
It's a cliff after holidays. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. That's a good idea. Well, before we wrap up here, I thought of the question that I was drawing a blank on before, Eric. Since you're running a 3PL, I'm curious if you have any tips for people with the inbound placement fee and trying to minimize that. Other than using AWD is one of the ways that Amazon has given us, but as a 3PL, do you guys have any tips and tricks for people?
Yeah. So no, this has hit us really hard, even though, sending to 7, we run the math both ways. Sometimes we pay it, sometimes we don't. And so we have like one of these data scientist guys that's his job is to figure out which way are we doing this. It was his job to build the shipments before. So now he's just got an extra step of which way is it cheaper to do it. It's an absolute mess. The one tip that I'll give you is, the bigger you get, the more options you're going to have, just because you have more products to ship in. And then the bigger you get, the more leverage you have with shipping companies to ship in. And so that's where we found a lot of our success with our clients is because we're so large, their products get to ride on our semi trucks into Amazon fulfillment centers.
I was just going to say that. So this goes for both you, Eric, and Todd. And that is that because you guys ship at such volume, if anybody uses you as a 3PL, you get to pass the cost savings on to your customer, which then effectively could, depending on your volume and stuff like that, negate the cost that they have to pay or absorb a significant percentage of the cost that they have to pay you as a 3PL.
Right.
Yeah, it's to just ship, let's say, 2 pallets to an Amazon fulfillment center might run you around $300 to ship that. But to ship a full truckload of 26 pallets using Amazon Freight, for example, you can get that done with $400, $450, $500 a lot of times. So you can, the economies of scale is immense there when it comes to shipping.
Wow.
I want to throw in one word of caution because there's a lot that's attractive. But for AWD, just like for AGL, Amazon Global Logistics, when they screw up, you have so little recourse. So just be prepared to bake that in. So with the cost savings, it's almost like you need a sinking fund. Throw your cost savings in there for when they completely lose your stuff and refuse to take responsibility, or when AGL gets it stuck in customs because they don't fill out the forms right and you miss peak. These are things that we've had with clients that they don't have an appeal process or a make it right process yet. They didn't bother to build that with AGL. For example, and it's, how they always build in flight at Amazon on new stuff. And so if something horrible happens, it's really hard to get them to make things right.
So wait, I've got a question on this. So Amazon, they just announced, hey, you know, you don't have to worry about chasing us down for your reimbursements, right?
Mhm.
So you're saying that this doesn't count towards that?
Oh, no, this is a completely different thing,
Yeah,
and
it's
come on,
separate.
Damon, they've always said that they would reimburse you for things lost in the warehouse, not
It's
received,
true.
damage. They've always said, I love how they're trying to make this like a carrot and stick,
Yeah.
like, "We're gonna do it for you," but
And the
the
look
good
back down
but
window
but
is
yeah,
90% less.
right, the look back window is 60 days now instead of 18 months, but we're gonna
Mhm.
do it for you. They've always said
Mhm.
they would do it for you, as they should. They're your 3PL. They're
Yeah.
supposed to reimburse you for lost stuff. We do reimbursements, so
Yeah, I know. That's why I
just
asked that
saying.
question.
And so we have clients coming to us who are saying, "Well, Amazon's gonna do it," and we're like, "Look, us like every other reimbursements company, you pay a percentage of what we get, so just let us keep looking because
Mhm.
you don't
'Cause
want to
you'll find
stop
it.
looking." We're
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
yeah, we're still finding the money, absolutely.
Yeah.
But for Amazon systems though, where they're, they're picking up, they're delivering, they're picking up from your warehouse, whether it's in a truck, a small truck, or the truckloads, it's really hard to get compensated when they don't check in things correctly, when they lose things, or worst
Jeez.
case, when it's AGL and it gets stuck in a port somewhere.
Yep.
Which you end up having to pay for, don't you?
If you can even, the problem is they are your intermediary in that
Mhm.
situation. So you have a hard time going and presenting correct documents to customs because you're not the one who's supposed to be doing it. And
Mhm.
so if someone at Amazon won't fix it, you're really stuck until someone at Amazon decides, oh yeah, we actually should go do that. And we've had multiple clients now with things stuck in port that have never been stuck before because they didn't have the right testing, because Amazon wrote the wrong stuff on the documents, even though they
Jeez.
had the information from the client. So just be aware, even if you get great cost savings, set some of it aside for real and just plan that at some point something's going to go wrong and Amazon's not going to give you your money.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Stuff always goes wrong. We're usually telling people if you're going to use AWD, try to keep your relationship with your 3PL, keep some stuff there, because right now the rates are awesome at AWD, but they probably won't always be as awesome as they are now.
100%.
I can guarantee you. And
Yeah.
so you
This
don't
is
want to
just a
burn your bridges with your 3PL and then Amazon jacked up its rates and you're not able to quickly switch back. So you want to have options always.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, awesome. Eric, Danon, Leslie, this has been fantastic. I appreciate you guys joining us. Joining
Absolutely.
me.
Good to see you again.
And
Thanks,
everybody
Bob.
out there watching, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Friday. Have an awesome one.
Cheers, buddy.